So for this chapter, the new goal is this one. So this is the same process than for the grid, but applied over the head. So let's do it. So let's import the head with an object merge. Up, like this. Import head, good. And purple, and let's add a new. Out default original head, good. So I would like to remesh the head, but over the first frame. So I need to freeze the first frame with a time shift. Good. That's it. Okay, this is good, even though, okay, now it's better. I would like to check as well the UVs, because I'm going to use a texture displacement, so I need to check that. Because usually there is a problem with the remesh, so let's check it out. And yes, there is. So we need to fix that, and in order to fix that, there is a SOP called vertex split, and it's going to cut the connection by the UVs. So let's use the UV and with the promo to point attributes. Now the UVs are on the point, over the point. What is it doing? So if I use the soft transform there, and then if I select one point with the force transform near the cut, yes, it works. It was the viewport. And then if I move it with a smaller radius, I have this result. So it means, as you can see there, this line has been cut by the vertex split. So if I take it off, up, there is no split anymore. So this is what is it doing, and in our case that's not a problem. But if we want, for example, and I've done it previously, I mean, I got this problem before, so I know what I'm talking about. If you want to use this model for a grand simulation, for example, you have to take care about it, and you have to fix that later. It's not our case, so that's good, and let's keep it that. So good, and let's see if it fixed the problem. Yes. And so let's reduce the size of the triangles, and this is what we want. That's good. So now I would like to transfer the animation from this one to the remesh static one, and in order to do that I'm going to use two different functions, and I've prepared a scene file, not a scene file but an example, in order to make it more obvious and more understandable. So let's go inside, and there is a sphere there, there is another sphere just there, okay. On this one I have the texture, there is a texture, and I've added a UV quick shade to check it. And on this one it's just a primitive, so there is one point, and I've animated on the y-axis. So this is what it's doing. What is it doing? So first one, I will use the xyz dist function. So if we take a look to the documentation, it returns the distance from the nearest point. So find the distance from the origin to the closest point on the geometry. Okay, and if I'm using not just two arguments but those, it finds the distance from the origin to the closest point of the geometry. So this is what it was doing there, and also outputs the primitive number and the UV coordinate for the closest point. So this is exactly what we want. So I need this one, and then I've created this attribute. So the new primitive and vector new UV. So if I go there, for example, or let's set them together. If I go there and if I split the pan left and right, and I go to the geometry spreadsheet, I want to check the primitive, the near primitive. So for this number, because obviously I just have one point, So it's saying the nearest primitive is the 64. And if I go there, and I can check the nearest one, it's the 64, as you can see, there. And if it goes upper, you can see if it's going to change the 61, 42, and so on. So this is what we want, and once you've done this one and store your nprim attribute and your nuv attribute, you can use the second function, and let's check it out as well with the documentation. So interpolate the value of an attribute at a certain parametric UVW position. So this is what we want. We are going to get the position there with our stored attribute, the prim number and the UV coordinate. So we can get it there. So at p equal prim IV, the second input, I want the position from those primitive and these coordinates. And when I'm doing that, as you can see there, it's going to stick to the geometry. And this is exactly what we want to transfer the animation. So let's do it. Okay, let's keep up this, and I will attribute wrangle there, the second input, this one, and I will use the float dist. I don't want the distance, I will not use it, so I will not store the attribute, and x, y, z dist function. So for the second input, the reference is the position, and I want to create a new I at n primitive and a new v at n new v. That's perfect. So now we can check that we have a good corresponding value. So the nearest primitive, that's good, that seems good, and the coordinate UV, that's good. So now let's rename that, add nprim nuv at, okay, with a red color, and let's use the primuv function. So now that I have all those data, I want to sample the position from it. So at p equal prim uv, the second input, I want the position, and I will use the I at not m prim and the v at and uv. Good. And let's check if it works. That's good. So let's rename that as well. Set p from uv, and it should be black. Okay. And now we can add other news as well. I would like to cache it too. So let's say, let's copy this. Out deformed remeshed head. Okay. I would like to cache this as well, grid market, but just one frame, because I want to reiterate those operations over a single frame. So let's call it remesh static head. So just copy past. Good. And I need just one frame, but only strict. This is the workflow with the grid market cloud cache. So I need to do that. I will add a control, global control. Okay, good, with some parameters. So a toggle and a float vector 2. Let's say load cache, like this. Load cache and the frame range. And the frame range. Like this. Okay. Set to 150. And let's copy this one to this one and this one. Okay. That's what your reference. That's good. and I need to freeze the first frame again because of the workflow with the green market online renders. This is almost good. Let's add the last null. Out static head. Okay, I'm adding all those null because after I know I will refer a lot with the object merge, you know, to those null, so it will be very helpful then. That's good. Now I can copy past what I've done there, and let's see what happened. Oh, I've forgotten to make this blue. Okay. And let's see what happened. Okay, this is what I want. That's good. And I just would like to fit again this one, 0 to 0.5, let's say. Yes. And maybe play with the value there, and with this one as well, maybe a bit more. Okay. And see what happened. Okay, good. This is overall what we want. I would like to set back the animation over the head. So let's do that. I will have to do it for the both inputs, and I will show you why right now. Because I can just replicate. Let's get this one. Okay, but I want this input, so the deformed. Oh, I didn't set the relative path, so let's change that. Relative path. Yes, okay. And import head, import out deformed image. That's good. So now I just, it should be the same number of primitives, so 38,344, and here 38,344. So that's good. So I want to set the same barycenter, and so let's get let's set the position with the primitive, second input, the P, so the position of the barycenter, and I cannot iterate over the primitive right now because there is no primitive on the particles, and so I will iterate with the PTNM, but it's going to be okay because it's the same number with the primitive. So that's good. And let's see if it works. Yes. So set position from deformed head. Good. And black. Should be black. That's nice. Even though if I check there, that's good. But there is two problems. So I don't have the noise anymore, and I have these kind of things, and I don't want that. So let's fix that. So first of all, for the noise, just need to do this and this, because I was setting the position after the noise and then it cancelled it, so now it's better. Okay, and for the other problem, this is why I need to set it on the first input as well, because otherwise on the first input it's not going to transform the point as well, but just the barycenter, and I need as well the transformation of the point. So let's do that, and I will import the static one. So let's get an object merge with the purple color, and let's set with this static like this and like this. So now I do have the static one. This is good. I would like to get the same facet and myPrim attribute, otherwise it will not work. So that's good as well. And I need to set back the animation, so I'm just going to copy paste this one, because there is already the nprim and nuv. Okay. So like this, and I will just duplicate the object merge there to get the original one. So like this, and like this. Let's check. Okay. And now we can set the transformation over the primitive, and it should be fixed. Yes, it's good. I think there is another problem there. Yes, it will be easier if I make it a bit less there and maybe a bit more here. As you can see, the noise is sliding, so I just need to set the rest position before I need the deformation, like this. Okay, and tweak it there. So bind the vector, not you, rest, and instead of the position I get the rest. Should be alright. It is. So this is good, and now let's make it a bit more organized. I think it will be a good idea now if we start to set the trigger for the noise displacement with a solver. So let's do that.